Revenge porn crime just got easier to prove with a longer potential sentence in Oklahoma. I'm Tulsa attorney James Wirth, and that is the issue that we have today. It has to do with a new bill that actually goes into effect today. It is House Bill 3639, and it becomes effective today, November 1st, 2024, and it has regards to revenge porn, or as it's called in the statute, the non-consensual dissemination of private sexual images. So this was just a few years ago that this was made a crime in the state of Oklahoma, and it had the possibility of a misdemeanor conviction up to a year in prison, or in the county jail, I should say. And it required a few different things to be proven. And based on this new bill, it has reduced the number of things that have to be proven, taken off some of those elements. So it requires the intentional dissemination of an image of another, and it used to require that that person be above 18 years of age or older. They took off that requirement. Now, the common sense behind that is that if the person was under the age of 18, then child pornography statutes would apply that have a much more severe penalty. So that would take care of that, so it didn't need to be covered in this law. Nonetheless, they took that out so this law could apply to that situation as well. Next element that used to be in the statute is that the person has to be identifiable from the image. So you have to be able to tell by looking at the disseminated image that it is the victim in that picture. If not, I guess before the thought was that they're not, if nobody can tell that it's them, then it's not harming them. However, that's been taken out, so you no longer have to prove that. You don't have to be able to tell who it is in order for there to be a crime committed there that could be charged. And the last one required that there be an intent to harass. Typically where we see these is that there is an ex in a relationship that is wanting to get back at somebody and publicly post these sensitive images. So it's easy to show that there was an intent to harass or intimidate or coerce as the statute requires. Under this new bill going into effect today, that requirement is no longer there. You no longer have to prove that, just that you had disseminated it. Last part, it changes a little bit regarding consent. This is what it said before. It says that the person disseminates the person knows, or a reasonable person should have known, that the person in the image has not consented to the dissemination. So that was the standard before. Now it's a little bit easier to prove. It says that the person disseminates the image without the effective consent. So this requires the person to have effective consent, whereas the other ones shift the burden a little bit different. Long story short, all of these things taken out there in the changes make it easier for prosecutors to prosecute these offenses and get convictions. And there's also one other thing that was changed in here. It changes some of the sentencing. So before, if you disseminate an image, it's a misdemeanor. Now, still a misdemeanor, at least at this point, before we get further in the statute. However, if you disseminate it for anything of value or for financial benefit, then under the old statute, you were looking at potential up to 4 years imprisonment. That has been increased to 5 years imprisonment. But here's the section adds at the bottom that kind of changes everything, because it notes any person who violates the provision of this section by disseminating 3 or more images within 6 months shall be, upon conviction, convicted of a felony. So before, if you do this, not for monetary gain, but do it for another reason, it would be a misdemeanor maximum of 1 year. Now, if you have 3 or more, if you post 3 images, even if it's related to the same event, same person, posted at the same time, then that becomes a much more serious offense, becomes a felony with up to 10 years imprisonment. So, new bill, HB 3639 goes into effect today. It makes it easier to prosecute and prove revenge porn and increases the punishment under a lot of the circumstances for that. All right, so if you are dealing with a situation like this, either as being charged or being the victim, you're probably going to want to talk to an attorney about your rights. To get an appointment scheduled with an attorney at my office, you can go online to makelaweasy.com.